The Phantom Stranger number 10, written by J.M. DeMatteis, art by Fernando Blanco, aka Trinity of Sin Phantom Stranger, but I'm not going to call it that. So, last issue, we had the Phantom Stranger going into hell to save his wife and children, and they were freed because he willingly was willing to sacrifice himself. Unfortunately for him, they were freed not back to the land of the living, but up to heaven. And God said, okay, in the form of a little dog, let's go. So he has a stairway coming out of hell, going up to heaven. And he's like, yeah. Let's just walk up there. I'll explain along the way. And he explains, okay, they were supposed to die. Like, the people you call a wife and children, they were supposed to die back when they were the wife and children of Philip Stark. But then you intervened, and now they were alive again. But that is against the plan, so therefore he's up. He's going up into, they're going to heaven. Like, that's the deal. And so if you want to go see them, we can go up and see them, but they're going to be up in heaven. Also, Sin Eater, aka Philip Stark, he's still around. You're going to have to deal with him. And he's like, oh, don't worry, I plan on dealing with him. And God's like, no, but like, that's kind of your thing now as well. You got to deal with him. Like, even if you get all your silver stuff taken care of, like, you still got to deal with him. So they make it up into heaven, and they see this huge crowd of people all standing outside the gates, which the gates are just this huge collection of walls and stairs leading all over the place. And he's like, what is this place? What's going on? And at this point, Phantom Stranger, it also just clicks for him, like, they're dead. Like, he killed them. Like, Sin Eater killed them, and you're not bringing them back to life. They're still just dead. How dare you? I've saved them. I was willing to suffer for them. And at this point, the dog gets a little pissed off, just like, hey, look, I get it. You've been through a rough time and all that, but don't you forget who you're talking to, and you will treat me with respect. Bark, bark. So he flies off and releases a big light, and he's like, if you ever do that again, I swear to God, I'm going to throw you down in a pit darker than you have ever known. And so Phantom Stranger's like, I'm sorry, it's been an issue. I've been going through a lot recently. And it's like, yep, okay, here's the thing. I'll let you bring one of them back. And Phantom Stranger's like, oh, I couldn't help but notice you said one of them. And God's like, yep, you can bring back one of either of your children or your wife, but only one. And Phantom Stranger says, I can't pick. How dare you make me make this choice? And God's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm letting you bring back a loved one from the dead. Sorry I'm being so unreasonable. Anyway, you're not the only person I have to deal with. I'm going to go take care of some other stuff. Zoriel. And then all of a sudden, this angel comes down and says, "Oh, hello, God. How's it going? What's happening? I'm here to serve you." And God's like, "Yeah, don't do the kneeling thing. Look, Phantom Stranger here needs some help navigating heaven. Help him get to his family. I gotta go take care of some other stuff. Peace." And so he disappears. And Zoriel explains to Phantom Stranger, like, yes, all these people standing out here on the lawn, they are the recently deceased. Some not so recent, but they've all not come to terms with the fact that they are dead. And so once they come to terms with that, they will make their way into one of the doors and find their own personal paradise. And as he is standing there getting this explanation, the babysitter, who was killed as a result of all of the stuff going on here, steps up and is just like, "Hey, Mr. Stark, hey man, what's going on? I think I'm dead. Can you take me back with you?" And Stark's like, "No, kid, I got one life I could take back, and it ain't gonna be you. I don't even know where to begin to search for them, though." And the babysitter's like, "Oh, he was, I saw them go through that door over there." And so Zoriel's like, "Yeah, no, there's a lot of souls. I haven't kept track of them. If he knows where they went, that sounds great. Let's go down that one to start." So they make their way through this doorway, and we see it starts off with very like stereotypical depictions of heaven with like clouds and angels and stuff like that. But then as you make your way deeper down this path, it becomes more of a metaphysical one with the universe sort of thing going on. And Phantom Stranger thinks like, if I wasn't so pissed off and so focused on getting my family back, I'd really like to dissect this and try to think about how heaven really works, but I have no time for that. So they finally make their way down the pathway and find a paradise, like mountains and rivers and whatnot, and we see the two kids and we see Elena and we see Philip Stark. And at that point, Phantom Stranger's like, "This dick is back again. I refuse to let him ruin things again." But then Zoriel intervenes like, "It's not a real him. That's their like image projection. They loved their father. They loved having him around. He's of course going to be part of this paradise. And he's like, fair enough, but can they see me? Can I go interact? It's like, yeah, but like they're currently in the space between spaces sort of thing. They're not quite as they were back on Earth, but they're also not quite one with the universe. So it's going to be a bit weird talking to them. So he steps up and he's like, hey, Elena, how's it going? But first we get an interstitial to Terrence 13, who's still really, really beaten up over the fact that he killed Phantom Stranger with the Spear of Destiny. And he's been drinking himself almost to death every night, and Question shows up again. He's like, hey, Terrence, I got a new question for you. And Terrence is like, don't. Just please don't do it. And Question's like, no, I think you're going to like this one. Do you have the courage to just die already? So we'll probably get that torn up soon enough. Back to heaven, Elena is talking to Phantom Stranger, and she's like, I don't know who you are. And he's like, no, you do. Like, really think about it. Come on, I'm get down your memories. And he's like, oh, wait, you're Joshua. You're Philip's friend. He's like, I mean, yes, technically, but that's, come on, look into my heart. You know, really, really pick at what's going on here. And we see the kids run up. It's like, oh, who's that? But then they see like, oh, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this guy. He's not cool. Mom, this guy isn't cool. I don't want to talk to him. And so they get a little bit scared. And Zoriel, like, he's trying to convince them, like, hey, look, just look into my heart. Look at me. You see how much I love you. I want all of you to come with me. And Zoriel's like, that's not, you got to pick one. God said you could only pick one. And he's like, psh, screw God. God's not here. God's not watching me. I'm going to take all of them and screw anybody who tries to stop me. And he grows to like this massive size, and storm clouds gather, and he smacks Zoriel across the face. And he's like, all right, Elena, my kids, come on, let's go. Come with the big scary magic man. And Elena holds back and says, no, we're not going with you. And she calls him Philip. And he's like, oh, wait a minute, you remember me. You know it's me. It's like, of course I remember you. You were my husband for so long, and you were kind and caring, and you were imperfect, but you indulged your wife and kids too much, but you loved us deep down. And I think you always clung on to our love just a little bit too much. And it's time for you to let us go. But I promise you that I will hold you in my heart forever. And so she gives him a kiss and then fades into the universe, fades into whatnot with the kids, and saying that they're going to our new beginning. So he walks back to Zoriel and the babysitter, and he's like, okay, let's go home. And of course I got to take the babysitter. Like, clearly when God said I had to take one and then I ran into the babysitter, that was always going to be the case. He's not subtle. It was always that. So he takes the babysitter back, and Zoriel's like, that was a good choice. You did the right thing. But be forewarned, if you ever try to take a soul out of heaven again, you will be erased from existence. And Phantom Stranger's like, is that a promise or a threat? Because I'm okay with that. So he ends up back in his bedroom along with the babysitter. Babysitter doesn't really seem to remember what's going on, but he sees Phantom Stranger just break down and cry, and he consoles him. And we see that Phantom Stranger is now stuck in his own private hell. It's a downer of an issue with a lot of big themes. I really like the big themes. That's something I've always liked about this series, is it stops and it just philosophizes for a while, and I really like that. And it's so well done. I really do enjoy this issue. I like the way that it's handling it. I don't really have much critique about it, so I won't. I'm not even going to bother. It's just a good issue. I'm going to give this one, I think I'm going to give this one an 8.5. It just doesn't quite squeak 9. 9 and up is reserved for just that little extra something special that like really just is a fun read, and I just love everything about it. This one's great. It's a fantastic issue, but it just doesn't quite squeak up to that highest of highs. So yeah, I'm into it. I'm looking forward. I think next issue might be Trinity War tie-in stuff. Not sure, but it's good. I'm enjoying it. This has been a solid arc from beginning to end, because this is basically the end of the first arc. All things considered, we're like 10 issues in. It took this long, but it was good. I really do like this book.